Why do some people seem to stay healthy, vibrant, and present long into their 80s, only to suddenly experience a quiet fading away from the world? Maybe you've wondered, watching someone you love or even yourself as the pace of life slows and the landscape of daily living transforms. This isn't something most of us talk about openly. There's a kind of hush around getting older, as if the hardest truths quietly pass among us, unspoken. Yet, knowing and naming these realities doesn't diminish life, it deepens it. If you've reached your 80s, or love someone who has, pulling back the curtain on these harsh realities can change how we care for ourselves, how we relate to others, and how we find purpose amid the changes. If this resonates with you, I invite you to stay for a few minutes. Like, share, or comment if this video or essay touches something in you. Most of all, stay to the end. There's hope woven through even the hardest truths if we look closely. Let's talk about the first unspoken reality: how the world of social connection slowly shrinks as we age. At first, it's almost unnoticeable. Friends move away. Neighbors you used to see at the mailbox don't come outside as much. Family visits may dwindle as lives get busier or as distances seem to grow longer, even if the miles don't change. The conversations that once filled the kitchen, the cards on birthdays, the quick catch-ups over a cup of coffee, these moments thin out, replaced by stretches of quiet that can feel both peaceful and heavy. There's an ache in the silence, a reminder that the cast of characters in our lives is always changing. I remember a woman named Ruth. She turned 81 the year her best friend moved to Florida. They used to meet every Saturday morning for brunch, sharing the stories of the week, laughing about old memories, steady in their companionship. It was a small thing, those brunches, but when Ruth's friend left, the world felt less familiar. She tried to call, but it wasn't the same. The silences grew. Ruth told me once that it wasn't the big celebrations she missed, but the ordinary moments, the knowing look, the quick smile, the gentle check-in. After 80, it's not just the number of friends that changes, but the depth of the connections that remains. With fewer people in our daily orbit, each relationship becomes infinitely more precious. Every conversation, a lifeline. Every hug, a vital touch. The shrinking world of social connection teaches us, don't take even the smallest moments of togetherness for granted. And if you can, treasure the people who show up, even if it's just a phone call or a wave from across the street. The second reality is how the smallest health problems can become bigger than we ever expected. When you're young, you bounce back easily. A bruised knee, a sniffle, a sleepless night, these things pass like a spring rain. But past 80, even minor aches or a cold can linger, draining energy and hope. It's bewildering sometimes how the body's resilience changes. There's a temptation to brush off little problems, to downplay them, or carry on as if nothing's wrong. But what used to heal in a few days can now take weeks, and sometimes the healing never feels complete. Let me tell you about Walter. At 85, he was full of stories and stubborn independence. He'd always been the family handyman, fixing everything from leaky pipes to broken hearts. One winter, he slipped on his porch and strained his ankle. Nothing broken, just a minor sprain, he thought. Give it a few days, he told his daughter. But the pain didn't fade. Instead, it colored every step. Weeks went by. Walking became harder. He stopped going to the hardware store, then to church, then out at all. A small injury, the kind he never used to think twice about, turned into a barrier to living how he wanted. It was a quiet warning. After 80, self-care is an act of kindness and necessity. Listen to your body with compassion. Ask for help sooner, and allow time for healing. Recovery is slower now, but it's not feat to honor what you need. Sometimes paying attention to the little things is how you prevent the big things from taking over. There is a third truth, one of the hardest to name: the gradual slip into invisibility in social spaces. You can feel it in the grocery line when people rush past, not seeing you as they once did. You notice it at family gatherings when your stories go unheard, or your advice is met with polite nods instead of lively debate. Society is loud with youth, with speed, with the new, but with age, you may become more of a background character in the scenes of daily life. It's a strange kind of loss, this fading from the center to the edges. But don't believe, even for a moment, that your wisdom and voice don't matter. I think of Eleanor, who led her church choir for decades. As she grew older, she sat more quietly in the pews, content to let the younger voices carry the melody. But when she spoke, people listened if only they paused long enough to hear. Her stories, her encouragement, her gentle guidance, they shaped lives in ways those around her never fully realized. Even if you feel invisible, your presence still changes the world. The world needs your memory, your experience, your kindness. And it's okay to ask to be seen, to remind others of your worth. The fourth reality, tiptoes in so slowly you barely notice. The narrowing of your daily life. Routines become smaller. The world outside the window grows more distant. Maybe driving no longer feels safe, or errands require too much energy. The familiar places, the library you loved, the cafe where you used to meet friends, the park where you watched the seasons change can begin to feel out of reach. It can feel like life shrinks to just a few rooms, a few faces, a few routines. But there's a flip side hidden in this narrowing. I knew a man named Sam, who, after years of traveling and a busy social life, found himself mostly at home. At first, he mourned the loss, the adventures, the endless variety, the sense of being in the middle of things. But over time, he discovered a new richness in the everyday. He found joy in watching the birds at his window, in listening to his favorite music, in savoring a good book more slowly than he ever had before. The meaning of his life didn't disappear, it changed shape. Sometimes it shrank, yes, but sometimes it deepened. It's entirely normal to grieve what's lost. Yet even as life gets smaller, it can still be full of meaning, memory, and purpose. The trick is letting go of what was, accepting what is, and searching for what matters now. The fifth and final reality is the unpredictability of your own body. After 80, physical changes can feel sudden and bewildering. One morning you wake up feeling strong. The next, you find that simple tasks are a struggle. The body you've known all your life, that's carried you through decades of work, love, and challenge, now feels like a stranger at times. Some days you feel unsteady, unsure if your legs will hold you. Simple aches appear out of nowhere. Your appetite may change, sleep gets lighter, and you may find yourself frustrated by fatigue that seems to have no clear cause. It's not just the body, it's your confidence, your sense of autonomy that gets shaken. There's a man named Carl who once prided himself on walking his dog every morning at sunrise, rain or shine. For years, his neighbors waved at him. They were used to seeing his steady stride and cheerful greetings. But after a bout of illness, Carl found that his balance wasn't the same. He worried. What if he fell? What if he needed help and no one noticed? For a while, he let the fear stop him. But then Carl made a small change. Instead of walking the block, he walked to the mailbox and back. He found a sturdy cane and asked his neighbor to walk with him once a week. He learned to listen to his body, to make adjustments, to accept help as a sign of wisdom, not weakness. Maintaining a sense of flexibility, finding new ways to move and thrive, is how you keep your independence and agency alive. The body may be unpredictable, but your spirit can remain nimble. Adaptation doesn't mean giving up, it means choosing to live actively, however you can. So, what do all these truths add up to? What's the point of naming them, of facing them so openly? Some may think acceptance is surrender, but real acceptance, looking at the realities of aging with open, honest eyes, can be the start of living more deeply, not less. The illusion that we are untouched by time or loss falls away. In its place is the wisdom to cherish what remains, to fiercely protect moments of joy, to appreciate the sacred ordinariness of each day. People often say, 80 is just a number. There is some truth to this, but 80 is also a threshold, the moment when time itself seems to speak in a new language. It asks us to listen differently, to measure life not only by what we can do, but by how we choose to be. Age doesn't erase value. If anything, it brings a kind of depth that youth could never know. The tender struggles, the silent courage, the ability to love despite loss, these become treasures, hard-won and wholly your own. Let's return for a moment to those 5 realities. The shrinking world of social connection invites us to reach out, even in small ways. A kind word to a neighbor, a handwritten note, a phone call, just to check in, these actions matter, perhaps more now than ever. When the little health issues crop up, take them seriously. See your doctor, rest when you need to, and allow others to help. Don't view these changes as defeats, but as reminders that care for yourself and for others is the heartbeat of a good life. If you ever feel invisible, remind yourself, you are the keeper of stories, the witness of generations, the source of wisdom no one else can supply. If life feels narrow, let yourself grieve and then look around for what beauty remains. A favorite song, the taste of morning coffee, sunlight streaming through the curtains, these are not small things. Sometimes they're everything. And when your body surprises you, when you feel uncertain, let that be a signal for gentleness. Slowing down is not falling behind. Needing support is not failure. There's courage in listening to your body, in adjusting to the new and unpredictable, in allowing yourself grace. Maybe you recognize yourself in one or more of these realities. Maybe you've held someone's hand as they lived through them, or maybe you're just beginning to see hints of these truths in your own life. Whatever your experience, know this: change is not the enemy, and aging is not a defeat. It can be an opening, a chance to see the world with new eyes, to deepen compassion for yourself and others, to claim a quieter but no less meaningful presence. There's a gift hidden in the honesty of old age, a chance to stop pretending, to put aside the masks and should-haves, to admit we all need one another. This is the age where, how are you, really means something, where the slow pace allows for noticing, savoring, and connecting in ways that a young, hurried life often misses. If you let it, there's depth to the days, a sweetness in the ordinary, a freedom in not needing to prove anything to anyone, not even yourself. So perhaps the most important message is this: accept the changes, not with resignation, but with clear-eyed courage. Seek out moments of connection, let your wisdom be heard, and protect your body and soul with gentle attention. Surround yourself with reminders that your life, just as it is, holds value profound, irreplaceable, ongoing. Not every day will feel easy. There will be mornings of longing, afternoons of fatigue, and nights of restlessness. There will be anniversaries of loss and days when the world feels too quiet. But there will also be small triumphs, a grandchild's laughter, a neighbor's thoughtful gesture, a warm cup of tea at the right moment. These are your victories, your reasons to keep going, your proof that life is not done giving its gifts. If you find yourself nodding along or wiping away a tear, know that you're not alone. Millions are walking this same road, grappling with these same realities. If something in this essay moves you, take a moment to share it with someone who might need to hear it. Leave a comment with your own story or wisdom. Reach out, even if only with a smile or a kind word, to someone in your life who might be feeling the same shrinkage of their world. Sometimes, the smallest acts have the greatest power. And if you're still here, reading to the end, know this: you still have time. Time to try a new routine, to call an old friend, to ask for help, to offer a listening ear. You have time to forgive yourself for needing more rest, to cherish what your hands and heart can still do, to write down your memories for those who come after. There's dignity in every stage of life, but there's a special kind of beauty in the courage and wisdom that only age can bring. So, let's stop whispering about what it's like after 80. Let's say it out loud, so we can support one another, so we can cherish the tenderness of these years, so we can choose to live deeply, not despite these realities, but because of them. Which of these 5 truths surprised you or speaks to you most? What changes have you made or will you make to live more fully in the years ahead? Tell us your story, because your story matters. Thank you for taking this journey with me. If anything here resonated with you, if you see yourself or someone you love in these words, please like, share, or leave your thoughts in the comments.